Today I'm going to talk about my updated lab results. Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, my name is Tina and I had traditional duodenal switch surgery on June 9th of 2020 with Dr. Srikanth in Federal Way, Washington. My highest weight ever was 340 pounds. My surgery day weight was 252 pounds, and my current weight is 208 pounds. And today I want to talk about, yesterday I went to see Carly, who is the nurse ARNP in Dr. Srikanth's office that I've been seeing. And I got my lab result back from last time I went in to see, I think it was like the first part of December. I had my labs drawn at LabWorks, and so I got the results back and made some adjustments to my medications, and I just kind of wanted to share those with you. So the first thing that happened, it was kind of cool because I went into the office, and you don't see Dr. Srikanth on a regular basis after your surgery, but he's there because he's seeing other people, and so I see him in passing usually every time I go in the office, which is about like every 4 to 6 weeks. And I saw him, I was standing on the scale, and he came out of one of the offices and he said, "Tina, look at you, you're just wasting away," which, I mean, I'm looking at the scale and I'm like over 200 pounds. I know I'm not wasting away, but still, it was just really kind of cool for him to see him, to have him say that. So I appreciate him. He's just a great doctor, and he helped me a lot. And I've talked about that a bit before on my channel. I had some complications, and he was very thorough with my surgery and to make sure that I was going to be okay, and so I just appreciate him. He's a great doctor. So about my my lab results. So this is kind of a little bit of a gripe, not about Dr. Srikanth, but just about, because I go to LabCorp, and so I went there on Friday morning. You have to go fast. You have to have fasted. You can have black coffee and water. And so I got there they open at 7 o'clock. I got there, I was a little bit later that day. I think it was like 8. And the lady that was helping me was by herself, which isn't unusual. And this is in Tacoma, Washington. And we sat down, and she did the blood draw. First thing, I have my whole life I've had trouble giving blood or having blood drawn. My veins are small, and I guess they move or something. I'm not totally sure what I'm not a nurse, and I don't do that, but I do know that every time I've ever tried to have a blood draw, it's never been easy. So I usually people try to do it traditionally through like my arm, here, but ultimately they end up drawing it out of my hand or my foot. And so this time it was she tried this side, they ended up doing both hands. It's always a mess, but anyway, the woman that took my blood, she finished, and I looked over, and there were 3 vials of blood. And then I said, "That's not enough," and they usually get way more than that. And she said, "That's what it says." And she pointed to the paper, and she was kind of, she was there by herself. I'm just not going to be snarky about it. But she was kind of just brusque with me, and I didn't want to argue with her, because what am I going to say? I'm not a nurse, and if maybe it did say that, but I couldn't. So they send you home with this, it's just a jug that you're supposed to dump your urine in for the 24-hour calcium test. So for 24 hours, you have to collect all of your urine. It's my least favorite part of post-surgery. Just, I would rather have my blood drawn any day of the week than have to do the 24-hour calcium. But I realized the benefit, and it's only, 4 times the first year, so I'll survive it. But anyway, so I went home with my empty jug, and I was just thinking about it, and I was like, I don't think she took enough blood. I don't think she did. And I was looking at, she had given me the paper back, and some of the things weren't checked off. And so I thought, maybe I should just bring this to their attention, because I knew I was going to go back on Monday and submit the 24-hour calcium test. So when I did that, excuse me, when I did that, so Monday morning I went in, brought my sample, brought my paperwork, and the lady that was at the desk wasn't the same lady that had helped me on Friday. And I just mentioned to her, I said, I just want to make sure, these are really important tests for me and my situation, and I just want to make sure that everything that was supposed to be drawn was drawn, because I feel like she only took 3 vials of blood, and I think there's supposed to be a lot more. And she said, oh, okay, I'll look at it. And she was really nice. And she looked at the paperwork and she said, oh, this isn't right at all. And so she went back to, I don't know what she did. She went and looked at some other paperwork and looked at some other thing. And she came back and she said, we have to do this all over again. And she asked me if I was fasted, and I was. I just had black coffee and water. I said yes. And then so they took me back and took the 6, what is this? It's either 5 or 6 vials of blood, and that it was done. So my gripe about this is that if I hadn't have said anything about that, Dr. Shrikant's office wouldn't know. They just get the results. So I think they wouldn't know. The reason I think they wouldn't know is coming up, but I'm being kind of gripey, but I'm also really, really encouraging anybody that's watching this who's going through this type of a surgery to just be aware and speak up. Because when I went to Dr. Shrikant's office yesterday and was talking to Carly, she didn't say anything about not having enough blood. And she was looking, I guess they had sent 2 reports. And so she was looking at the first report that they had sent that had only been, an adequate amount of blood. She was looking at that report. And then I mentioned what I just said, that they had to do it over again. And then she went back into the other office and found the second report. So I don't know I'm not sure that they would have even realized that I didn't have enough blood drawn, and that the adequate tests weren't done. So I just have a lot of questions in my mind. And Carly, when I was talking to Carly about it, she said, it's not, because I said that they seem like they're really understaffed. And she said, it's true for all the labs, honestly. And she said it's not even just LabCorp. She said you really got to pay attention, and which seems like it's not really my job to pay attention, but it is my health and it is my body, and I'm the one that's worried about these things. I'm much more worried about my body than the people at LabCorp are, obviously. So I just want to put that out there. Just please watch what's going on, and please try to pay attention, because what happened is my labs are great. So I've been taking I take my vitamins and my supplements and everything like a crazy person. I'm very, very regimented about it. But I was low in, which I'm going to look this up. I haven't looked this up yet, but I'm low in carbon dioxide. Why do I have to have carbon dioxide? I don't understand that, but she didn't mention that. My protein is fine, which I'm always worried about. But what I'm high in ferritin serum, which is great, and I honestly feel like that has a lot to do with my not having lost a lot of hair yet. I know it's probably just wishful thinking, but I take a lot of ferritin, specifically that type of iron, on top of whatever else I need for my iron, just because I think that specific type of iron is really good for, at least that's what I've been told, it's really good for hair growth, and for hair loss. But anyway, the thing that I'm very, very low on, frighteningly low on, is vitamin B12, which is just shocking to me. And just a little bit of background. For the last couple of weeks, I think I mentioned in one of my videos that I knew something was off because I was feeling really weak. I've been feeling weak and dizzy and kind of woozy, and I thought it was because the iron, they had changed my iron dose, and so I thought, well, maybe after the results of my labs they'll put my iron back up. Well, it wasn't the iron, it was my B12. And my B12 has been low before in my life, even 10-15 years ago, before I even considered having weight loss surgery. B12 has always been kind of an issue for me, and I realize it's because I don't eat meat, and I'm often on vegan all the time. The only dairy I really like is cheese. So, I don't really eat that. You don't just sit down and have a bunch of cheese, right? That's not a normal thing. And I don't eat meat, so I don't eat, like I wouldn't eat a cheeseburger, you know what I mean? So anyway, I have been taking the same B12 for probably 15 or 20 years. I've been taking this sublingual B12 from Trader Joe's consistently for my entire life. And I was taking this consistently pre-surgery when I had labs done, and my B12 was fine then. And the labs that I had at my 3-month point, I had, nothing changed. I've always taken B12 from Trader Joe's. My labs were fine last time, and all of a sudden, at this point, my B12 is just terrible, really bad. And in fact, they gave me a B12 injection while I was sitting there in the office, which I'm very grateful for. I didn't feel immediately wonderful. I still feel weak and dizzy, and I can still feel it. But I'm glad that they could do that. And they gave me a prescription for some intravenous B12 shots. So I'll be giving myself a shot, which that's not weird for me because I've done that before. I have multiple sclerosis, and the medication that I've been on has been a daily shot of a thing called Copaxone. So it's not weird for me to give myself a shot. But I'm just so glad that they run all these tests and that they got that, because I wouldn't have known to say anything. My thought was it was my iron. I never would have in a million years thought it was my B12. So, because again, I've taken the same thing for decades, and last time I did my test, my B12 was fine. So I don't know what changed. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just happy they ran the test. So I'm really happy that they are very proactive about these things, and I just really appreciate that office so much. I feel safe with them. I feel like they have my best interest at heart. The fact that they were able to just give me a B12 injection right on the spot, it's just really means a lot to me. So anyway, this is not an advertisement for Dr. Shrikant. I just am really appreciative for just because they're worried about my health, and not just my money, but they're worried about my health, and I appreciate that, of course. So anyway, I just wanted to share my lab results with you all, and I hope you're having a great day. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.